Hi everyone and welcome to Mind Esthetic Clinic. My name is Dr. Suzana and I would like to talk about today about my biggest shift, biggest change, biggest transformation that I did, and that is changing the relationship to myself. And I wanted to share the exact steps and the tools you can use too if you want to do the same. Everyone is talking about self-love, and it became like more like a cliche to talk about self-love. But what that really is, self-love has nothing to do with egoism, with feeling better than somebody else, with feeling that you are perfect. This is about a real, deep, and honest and kind relationship with yourself. We are full of criticism, we are very hard towards ourselves, and I was like that myself. This is the relationship that you would have with a loving child. You are not saying to your child, "Oh, you are stupid, you see you cannot do it," but you are treating your child with love, with kindness, with understanding, encouragement. And that is exact the relationship that we should have towards ourselves. I had recently a patient that wasn't feeling well either physically and mentally, and I was talking to her about importance of self-love. And when I explained how it should look like, and she just laughed and said, "Well, this is impossible. I definitely don't feel this way." And then I realized how many women feel like that. And I was one of them. I was very critical toward myself, very hard on myself, never feeling good enough. So I realized how important it is to talk about it. And even if one person hears it, it's worth it to talk about it. You know, we cannot give away what we don't have inside of us. And if you squeeze a lemon, the only thing that you get from a lemon is a lemon juice. You cannot get orange juice from lemon. That's the same with us. If we are carrying these feelings of resentment, anger, fear, shame, guilt, then that is what everyone around us is going to get. Especially when we are feeling tired or stressed, that's when all our feelings coming out on autopilot without our control. And of course that we have whole spectrum of feelings. It's not like you are feeling like that all the time. Certainly that we feel happy, joyful, fulfilled for periods of time, but it is about your dominant vibration. And when I talk about vibration, it's really about your dominant emotion. What is your deep core emotion that you are feeling inside? And it's usually a big difference between how you really feel inside and what you show to the world, the mask you are wearing. And bigger the gap, the more energy we need to hold these two things apart, to hide this true self that feels fear, shame, guilt, resentment, criticism, and this mask that we are holding on the outside, that we are happy, that everything is fine. And this is called authenticity gap, this gap between how we really feel inside and what we show on the outside. And I also had this feeling on the inside of not being good enough, not being worthy, low self-esteem, and on the outside I appeared confident and very happy. But all my actions were motivated by these deep feelings that I had inside. And I was never happy with my appearance, how I looked like. I was never slim enough. My belly was never flat enough. And I went to gym because I wanted this result. I wanted to change my body. I wanted to change how I looked like, because I thought when I change it, maybe I'm going to like myself more, maybe I'm going to feel better. And that was my reasons why I went to gym, why I trained so hard, why I exhausted my body. It was more like punishment, and I hated to go to gym. I didn't like it, but I forced myself to do it because I wanted to change myself so I can like myself better. But this is the wrong way we are doing things. It's the same with the diet. We go on a diet because we want to lose weight, because we want to look better, and that is because we are hoping that we are going to like ourselves better, that we are going to feel better. But the real reason why we want to take care of our body, why we want to eat healthy, why we want to exercise, it's because we really love ourselves and we want to treat our body with respect and love. And why we actually treat ourselves as we do, why we are so hard on ourselves. The root lies in childhood, in these child experiences, child traumas, when we felt unloved, unseen, not enough, and those feelings we pushed down deep inside of us, and we didn't want to feel them again. So what can we do to change this way we are feeling? And what steps exactly I took to change this? First thing that helped me start on this journey of transformation was the decision that I don't want to feel this way, and that I'm going to do everything it takes to change this feeling. And we have so easy to focus on what we don't want. So I knew what I didn't want. I didn't want to feel like that. I didn't want to have this feeling of not being good enough, this feeling of fear. I was extremely terrified of speaking in public, and I wanted to overcome these feelings. So I made a decision that I'm going to change that. For real transformation to happen, we need to shift that and start focusing on what we do want, how we do want to feel, how we do want to live our lives. And this decision of mine was certainly influenced by my breast cancer, because I realized that I partly got this cancer because of this lack of love towards myself, because dissatisfaction with myself, this criticism, because of stress, of perfectionism. So that was the cause that triggered my decision to change everything. And now I needed a clear picture of myself, how I wanted to feel, what things I wanted to achieve. The second thing that helped me was daily meditation. And meditation is foundation for everything, because in meditation you are starting being aware of your thoughts. You are starting being aware what you are actually saying to yourself. You are starting to observe your thoughts, and then when you start being aware, you can change those thoughts. You can direct thoughts. You can choose what you want to think instead. So this is a mental training that is like foundation base for everything, because even if you use some other tools for transformation, like visualization or inner child healing or shadow work, you need to do it in meditation. So meditation is a foundation. And when I started being more aware, I realized that during the day I still saying to myself, how stupid you are, you see you cannot do it, or all these horrible things that we usually say to ourselves. But then when I started being aware of my thoughts, I could have stopped with the first thought before they gain momentum, because before I was drained into my thoughts, I could stop myself and say, this is my old program, this is old Suzana that is talking now, and I don't want to think like that. I want to think like Suzana, who is feeling confident, who is feeling happy, who is loving herself. And I stopped myself and shifted my focus on how I wanted to feel and what I wanted to think instead. And what helped me also is to write down this vision, how I want my life to look like. This Suzana that has achieved everything she wanted to achieve, how would she feel, what thoughts would she have, what habits does she have. And I wrote everything down and start imagining how it would feel. I imagined that she would feel free, that she would feel peaceful, grateful, happy, confident, proud of myself. These are the feelings that I constantly evoked to feel in my reality. And then also I did the mirror work. And I bought this book from Louise Hay, The Mirror Work. And this is the process where you stand in front of the mirror and saying to yourself that you love yourself, that you appreciate yourself. And I know when I tried to do it the first time, it felt so awkward. I felt stupid, and it felt unnatural, and it felt so uncomfortable to do that. But I then reminded myself that I took a decision that I'm going to do anything it takes to change how I'm feeling. So I continued, even if it felt uncomfortable and stupid, I continued doing that. And I remember this moment when I first time looked deep in my eyes and saw this soul in my reflection. And that was the moment when I bursted in tears, and I cried so much. And even now when I'm talking about it, I become emotional. Because this was the moment when I really saw myself and realized how awful I have behaved towards myself. And the things I did also was affirmations. But it was very hard with affirmations, because when you feel that you are not worthy, that you are not good enough, that you don't love and like yourself, it's like feels so fake to say that you love yourself, that you are confident, that you are happy. You cannot go from minus till plus just by changing it directly. And I talked about it in my previous videos, where I talked about our mind as a computer, how certain apps cannot be launched if they are not supported by your operating system, by your belief system. And that is the same here. You cannot have the thought that you are confident, that you love yourself, if your operating system is saying this is bullshit. You are lying to yourself. So you need to bridge this gap somehow, and that's why you can use these bridging apps, launch these bridging apps that your operating system is going to support. Like you can say to yourself, like I did, which felt better and more true, that I am working every day, that I'm feeling that every day I like myself more and more. I feel confident more and more every day. So this was these bridging thoughts, bridging apps that helped me use my affirmation and go forward. And I also used shadow work and inner child healing and forgiving to my parents, to everybody who hurt me. And this is also very painful process. You do it in meditation, where you connect with your inner child, with this small version of yourself, and you are reparenting. You are being this parent that this child never had, and that this child deserved, and that this child wanted to have. So you are reconnecting with your inner child. You are bringing light to those hidden emotions, fear, shame, guilt, that you pushed down in the shadows, in the darkness of your mind. You are seeing this feeling, you are accepting those feelings, and you are integrating those feelings as a part of yourself. And this is very healing transformation, very painful. Many tears were shed in this process, but it's so liberating, and it feels amazing when you go through it. You are then able to let go of the burden of your past. And I did this process, and I forgave my parents, I forgave everybody that hurt me, but suddenly I realized that I didn't do the most important thing, and that was to forgive myself. And that was maybe the hardest part, to forgiving myself. And that's where I worked the most. And for that also you need meditation as foundation, and then you repeat the process many times. You go through certain events that happened, and you are reframing them, and you are being more understanding towards yourself, more accepting, and that's how you shift. And then when you do all this work, then you start going to gym because you want your body to feel good, because you feel good, because you love yourself, because you are not waiting for results. You are not wanting to change your body so you can like yourself, but you like and love yourself first, and you want to do what's right for your body, what feels good for your body. And that's why you eat healthy, because you are not restricting or denying something to yourself, but you want to give your body the best nourishment because you love yourself. So this is the completely different vibration why you do certain things. And when you change your identity like that, that's when the all around you starts to change. You start feeling this love and peace inside of you, and then it reflects somehow on everything that is happening to you, and everybody around you start reflecting these feelings, and you start living love and peace. And of course, I'm just a human. I'm not perfect. My old self still pops up, but now I'm aware of it, and I just accept it. But it's okay now. I understand this process. I understand that this process is never going to be finished, that I'm never going to be perfect, that my old self is going to come up sometimes, but it's okay. I accept it, I know it, and I'm not judging myself for it. And you know, a few days ago, I had one challenge. I actually did a mistake that led to me needing to drive like 3 hours after my work. I was planning to do completely other things, but then because of this mistake I did, I was forced to drive 3 hours to fix it. And my old self would criticize and blame myself for doing this mistake, for ruining my afternoon and evening, for not being able to do what I planned to do. But when I was driving, I realized that I didn't have a single thought of criticism or blame towards myself. And I just accepted it is what it is. Shit happens, and I'm going to enjoy as much as I can in this situation, and I'm going to make best of the situation. And I was listening to some inspiring story, and then at one moment I just felt so much love and peace that I turned off the radio. I shut down all my thoughts, and I was driving in some kind of awakened meditation where I was focusing on what I'm doing, but I didn't have any thoughts, and I just felt this flow of love and peace through me. And it was such a beautiful feeling, and that's when I became inspired to do this video and share this with you. And it just came to me, this beautiful comparison, how I can better explain what identity gap is. I talked about identity gap in my previous videos, and that is a gap between who you really are, you who are loved and worthy beyond comprehension, and who you think you are, this identity that you built for yourself, that is full of limiting beliefs, criticism, shame, guilt, fear. So this gap is like if you think that you have this electricity wire, that electricity flows through wire freely, and you cut it, and this gap between these two ends of wire is this identity gap. And with this work, this transformational work, this self-development that I have gone through, you are actually holding one side of the wire with one hand and other side of the wire with other hand, and you are pulling these ends closer and closer and closer. And what happened to me that moment in the car is when I realized that I succeeded to connect these ends together, and this electricity start flowing again, and I felt this flow of love and peace through myself. And when you start feeling like that, you realize that this is the feeling everyone is looking for, because everything you do in life, whether it's wanting to have a bigger house, better job, find love in your life, have more money, whatever you want in your life, you are wanting it because deep down inside you think that you are going to be happy, and you think that you are going to feel good when you get it. That's the reason why we want all these things. But when you realize that this feeling is coming from inside, when you are connecting your wire, and that you don't need those external things that make you feel good, that's when the real transformation happens. And that's what it means to live from inside out. You don't need external things to make you feel good, but you just feel good regardless of external circumstances, regardless of material things. And that's why I decided to share this video, because I would like for everyone to experience this feeling, to start living the life that is worth living.